So Wayne, I'll be asking you some questions from some Dagger supporters today that they tweeted in or they sent via email. The first question we have is from Mark Stringer, who asked, who's the best manager you've ever pitted your wits against at this level?
Well, that's a good question actually. I guess the team that have probably beaten us most comfortably. Brian Law's had a good game plan and they played some good football. Last season against the likes of Davids and Nigel Worthington, when there's things to play for. So it's difficult to pick one in particular. They're all decent, I guess.
And one not so serious from Reese Martin. He said, "Will a child ever be born that can swim faster than a shark?"
Will a child? Highly unlikely, unless we can get a child that has some kind of fins, I guess.
We've got a bit more serious now.
Has Bill got right in the way of the camera there?
What? Oh, you're doing a...
It's all right, you didn't get in the way.
You got a bag for that?
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That time while you let me wash that out and clean it for you.
That's fine, thank you, Bill.
We've got one from Stephen Harvey. He said, which ex-Dagger do you think would help the team most right now?
Dwight Gale.
Good answer. And Josh Jones says, if you could work with any manager, who would it be and why?
Wow. Probably Sir Alex Ferguson, Mourinho. I'd like to spend some time with Guardiola. But if I had to pick one, it would probably have to be Mourinho.
Any reason why?
Yeah, he's a genius as far as I'm concerned. He's gone to every country, many different countries, and won titles there with teams that he's inherited that haven't particularly won things in the previous season. So I think whatever he does, he's very, very special, and I think he's a genius.
And we've got a question about the game on Saturday from Montel via email. He said, we play Morecambe on Saturday. How did the team prepare for an away match?
This week's been a little different. We were off on Monday, trained Tuesday, trained Wednesday, trained Thursday. We'll travel to Morecambe on Friday, and we'll train at Bolton Wanderers Football Club. But in terms of preparation, nothing really changes. We'll train for. We'll have a double session on Tuesday, a single session on Wednesday, a single session on Thursday, a single session on Friday. But we'll be prepared by going over how they play, their strengths and weaknesses, how we're going to play, our strengths, where we're going to capitalise on, maybe their weaknesses. We'll really analyse the opposition, but we'll focus mainly on what we're going to do and what we're about.
We've got one from Thomas McGregor, which I think is more of a challenge for me than you. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I wouldn't know. I don't quite, I don't know, to be honest with you. Probably a lot further than you and I guess.
And Mark Stringer said, Chuck Norris v Stephen Seagal, who wins?
Wow!
Chuck.
I think probably Chuck Norris, because if I'm right, he was, this guy was a real martial arts expert, was he? I don't know if Stephen Seagal was. I'm not sure, probably was, but Chuck. I think I'd probably have to go with Chuck Norris. Yeah.
And Paul Brinsky asked, if you could get us playing like Arsenal or Spurs, which would you choose?
Wow.
Arsenal.
Probably. Yeah, I think it would be Arsenal. Yeah, because they play. They play some very, very good football at times, and it's exciting to watch. And especially when they went for nearly 50 games, they went unbeaten the whole season and nearly 50 games unbeaten. Some of that football was the best I've ever seen. It was incredible. It was almost like kids playing in the school playground. They was like walking it in at times. It was fantastic. So yeah, probably I'd have to go towards Arsenal. But the way Tottenham are playing of late, it's quite close, but probably Arsenal.
And Craig Gildersleeve asked, who was the best player you played with and against, and also what was your favourite goal?
The best player I played with, well, I was very fortunate to play with some very, very good players and against some fantastic play. Probably the best player I ever played against was probably Ruud Gullit. Played against Chelsea and he was probably 70% better than anyone on the whole football pitch. Some of the things he was doing with a ball were incredible, and it was like men v boys. Even he was better than anyone close in his own team. He was so much better than everyone else. So, you know, he was probably one of the best players I ever played against. I played against probably a bit before some people's time, Mickey Hazard and Glenn Hoddle. But in terms of that performance, it was him. But in terms of people that I felt were brilliant was Glenn Hoddle, who's one of my idols. Who have I been fortunate enough to play with, alongside? Many players, and it'd be an injustice to the players that I've played with, but I've played with some fantastic players and I've been very, very lucky and very fortunate to have played at a decent level with some of them. So probably, if I'm having to single anyone out, I played with Tim Sherwood, who was a very, very good football player and very, very intelligent. But there's lots, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm thinking now that I could name probably a dozen that I think, wow, fantastic football players.
And Charles Millett said, if you were a fish, would you choose to live in the sea, a river or a freshwater lake?
Who's that from?
Charles Millett.
Charles, I like that. What a good question. It depends what fish I was. Would I live in the sea? If I was a little fish, probably not, because I'd probably get eaten. Would I live in a river, or would I live
freshwater lake?
A freshwater lake? Would people be fishing lots? So they'd probably take me out of it. Probably a river. That's kind of a cool place to live, I guess. So yeah, probably a river. But it's a cool question, actually.